Hello and welcome to the Rangers Journal. I'm your host, Scott Mackay, and I'm delighted to be here taking this podcast forward for Kai Watson. So just a wee bit of a debrief about Kai. He started a blog and a website called the Rangers Journal in March last year. And he's wanting to sort of expand the brand a wee bit, and he's asked me to get a team together and try his brand in the podcasting world. So welcome everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Any feedback at the end of the pod would be appreciated because some others might have seen me in a gallant few Rangers assessment, Stans Ibrox. There's a couple of season podders in, and there's a couple of new faces as well to bring some freshness to the podcast world. So any feedback's truly appreciated. I'll just get around the panel first. Ross, how you doing?
All good, Scott. Yeah, as you said, I'm one of the newbies, so thanks for having me on the pod. Thanks to Kai for setting this up. I think a stressful Monday morning was made a lot better with the result from the weekend. So very, very happy to be sat top of the league today, and it's pleasure to be here.
Aye, definitely, mate. Colin, my sensei, my mentor in life. How are you getting on, pal?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's a very, very good time to start talking about Rangers. Kai's timed this perfectly. I was just saying to the boys off air, we started the pod and when we were calling for Gerrard to get sacked right before lockdown. So, no, he's played a blinder here. But thanks very much for having me on, and it's good to see all the usual names pop up in the YouTube comments already. Hello to all the listeners.
Oh, thanks for coming on, Colin. Billy, fresh face to the podcasting world. How are you getting on, pal?
I'm okay, mate. And again, I'll reiterate my thanks for the same as other boys have said. Thanks for having me on. Again, very first ever podcast.
Good stuff. So we'll get through the kind of starting lineup first. I'm doing this off the top of my head, so I might be wrong, but I think we lined up with Butland, Tav, Goldson, Suter, Borna, Diamande and Lundstrom in midfield with Cantwell. We had Cortez on one side. Who played the right wing? Anybody?
Yeah.
Scott Wright.
Scott Wright. His
performance was that good, I've forgotten all about him already. And then we had Fabio Silva up top. Ross, was there any surprises in the starting lineup for you?
It shouldn't be a surprise given that we've had a lot of rotation recently. But yeah, I think given it was a must-win game, I think I was pretty surprised to see Diamande coming in and Scott Wright, to be honest, on that right-hand side. I think McCausland's been earning his corn out there, and I think Lawrence also has been playing well. But look, we've got to come to terms with the fact that the gaffer's going to rotate and give people minutes and make sure that people are rehabilitated. So, look, it worked out well in the end. But yeah, there was a few surprises in there for me, for sure.
Aye, definitely. I don't think anybody was expecting Scott Wright to come in, to be fair. Colin, was that a bit of a surprise to you?
I said last week, I really wasn't sure how he was going to set up. Like the Rangers fan of the last couple of years of me, where the scar tissue just says play your strongest 11. Like, don't bother about rotation, man. Rotation is just preempting and thinking too far down the line. But it's no FIFA, it's no Football Manager. We do need to, as Ross says, change the lineup about get people contributing, even if they're maybe no first picked Scott Wright. But kind of surprises, particularly with Scott Wright in. I'll be honest, I'm surprised that Diamande started. I thought he would have given him another couple of sub appearances, but delighted that he did.
Aye, definitely. Billy, onto the back line, we had Borna Barisic come back in for Radvan Yilmaz. That brought a certain, I think Clement's done that for the physicality of the match, pitch, experience Borna's got. What was your thoughts on Borna coming back in?
I wouldn't have him in the team. That's just, I'm not, he's lost me. I was hoping Yilmaz would start. Again, not surprised. I mean, Clement said when he came in, he was going to use everything that he had, try and rehabilitate players. So it shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, Barisic has been getting game time, but I would like to see Yilmaz there permanently, to be honest with you.
Aye, definitely. But I think it's what you're saying. I think Clement's just trying to kind of build up everybody's fitness. You can see him doing it with like Tom Lawrence. He's managing his minutes very smartly because of his injury record. So moving on, we'll go on to kind of a bit of the first half. It was a bit laboured. It was a wee bit sluggish. What did you make of the pitch, Ross?
Yeah, look, it was a very poor pitch. Probably one of the worst we've played on this season. I think in the post-match summary, Clement said that if we hadn't have played at Dumbarton and had the experience on a cow field like that, then we maybe wouldn't have gotten through it as we did. It wasn't up to scratch, and I think you could see in the first probably 10, 15 minutes, we were trying to combat that by keeping the ball in the air and laying them in over the top, very like when Dessa scored against Ross County, that sort of diagonal ball in over the top. But I think we soon grasped that that's probably not Fabio Silva's game. He likes it into feet. He likes to be quite technical in that area. But yeah, the pitch wasn't up to scratch. I'm always hesitant to say that it's at fault because there's 22 men on the pitch and there's two teams playing on the same pitch. I gather that St Johnstone did train on that pitch and in rugby boots, I heard as well. So I think the extra long studs churned it up that little bit more. But no, look, I'm glad we got through it without any injuries. And I think at the end of the day, we managed it very well in the second half.
Aye, definitely. I've got to agree with you. Colin, the rumour was that St Johnstone had trained on a pitch. Galdo's brought up a really good point. If you look at Darvel's pitch, there's no excuse for SPFL teams. Do you think that's something the league kind of needs to clamp down on a wee bit?
Aye. I'm going to maybe be a bit of a contradict myself here. I don't blame for St Johnstone doing what they're allowed to do within the rules. It's no St Johnstone's job to make it easy and pretty for Rangers and easy in the eye for Rangers fans. Both teams need to deal with it, but when there's one team who is maybe, trying to get a bit more used to playing the free-flowing football, direct, keeping the ball on the pitch, and the other team is going to set up to make the game difficult, that pitch does make it a bit of a leveller. So St Johnstone, they've every right to do what they can within the rules of the game. But back to, we can copy and paste any snippet that any of us would have said about the governing bodies over the last 2 or 3 years. They're incompetent. They don't know. They couldn't run a bath. I'm not going to go off on too much tangent, but I'm not going to hold my breath that they're going to clamp down in the pitches.
Aye.
So while we've got these charlatans running the game, then it's not going to change anytime soon.
Barry, just lastly on the pitch, do you think Rangers handled it well enough?
I've seen a comment come up there saying that Dessel's maybe more suited to that pitch. I think I agree with that over Silva. I know what you're saying, Ross, about we both got to play on it, but there's only one team yesterday that wanted to play football, good football. They did what they can, as you say, within the rules that they're allowed to do. They did what they can to make sure that wasn't a good pitch for free-flowing football. And, as you say, fair enough. But their game wasn't going to be playing smooth, attacking, forward football. It was going to be to frustrate us. And I guess they did it. So Silva, for me, probably wasn't the starting striker just because of the way he likes to play. Dessa's probably suited it a bit more. And I think he probably had a better game over. I know we'll come on to the sitters, I'm sure. I know he probably had a better game overall than Silva did because Silva couldn't just get control of it, I think. Whereas Dessa's, I think, did a bit better with that.
I've got to agree. I think the game was more suited to Cyril Dessers than what it was for Silva. Our very own Gary Mulroney, who joined the pod but can't make it on tonight, he was doing some work during the game for us, and he came up with this sort of wee slide where it kind of shows you the average positions of the Rangers players in the first half. Ross, what's your thoughts on it generally overall? I think it looks to me, I've not got the St Johnstone slide that Gary sent in handy, but it looks to me as if the positions the Rangers players was taking up was kind of falling into St Johnstone's hands ever so slightly.
Yeah, look, and I think it tells the story very well that we all probably saw, especially in the first, I'd say, half an hour before that opening goal, which seemed to, A, kind of settle the nerves and B, give us a bit more confidence on the ball. What it probably tells as well is the fact that it was a rotated team with players in there who are all probably trying to make a point of and hold that jersey. trying to get on the ball a lot more, and therefore probably chasing the ball rather than keeping it wide. As you rightly say, they played 3 big burly centre-backs.
Right.
That does play perfectly into their hands there, and I think you've hit the nail on the head with that. But yeah, look, the first half was a real tough game, and it was a slog. For a long period of time, we were kind of trying to make things happen and forcing things quite a bit. As I say, as soon as we got that first goal, I think we settled down a bit. I think a lot of the players knew what was at stake, yesterday, and it definitely brought a bit of comfort to them once that goal was in, and we started being a bit more fluid in the second half. Just on your point, Billy, that you made before there, I think just to go back on that point, I think you're absolutely right in what you said. And Craig Levein did come out afterwards and said, look, we frustrated them for a long period of time, to which the commentator or a pundit or interviewer said, oh, do you think you can take some positives from this? And he says, yeah, definitely. So look, that was probably their game plan. Frustrate them for a long period of time, make it very difficult for them to play football, which they did pretty well for the first half hour, I would suggest.
Aye, definitely. I've got to agree with that, Ross. Colin, what does this picture that's in front of your eyes tell you about Scott Wright's performance? Because all I can see on that right-hand side is James Tavernier's number.
Well, I tell you what, it does tell you that the Rangers Journal is much more organised than the Gallant Few, man. You've seen me hosting that turn up with the back of a fag packet, so fair play. I wasn't feeling nervous about the night until you asked me to analyse something, man. Scott Wright. So, can I play devil's advocate a wee bit? I mean, I know we're going to have a bit of Scott Wright bashing, but I do want to just remind us all that we're talking about Scott, European finalist, set up a goal against Leipzig, right? Give a bit of respect to this boy's name. He's coming inside, and I get that's going to be the criticism labelled to him. Is the same criticism labelled to Cortez for the positioning? I mean, we know we put so much emphasis in the fullbacks getting forward. We over rely on Tav at times. Scott Wright has to go somewhere, or Tav has to do something different. So if Tav is looking a bit further wide right yesterday, that's a wee bit of a change from the last few weeks where we've seen him almost do the inverted runs. So one has to go inside, one has to go outside. They can't stand in each other's foot and top each other. So, I'm not going to... There's plenty of things I've got to criticise him for. His positioning, it probably isn't one of them.
That's a fair enough take. Just getting on to the first goal. Billy, I'll ask you to come in on this. So, Mohamed Diamande, it's obviously... A ball gets whipped in. St Johnstone centre-half goes to make a clearance. Diamande rolls the ball with his left and absolutely smashes it with his right. But what you can tell with the slide, it's kind of, I think Diamande was number 23 yesterday. I might be wrong, but it kind of,
right.
It kind of shows how true it is that we broke a deadlock for a position like that, doesn't it?
Well, that little first touch he took was glorious, wasn't it? He just set himself up, and what a smash! If he can do that once every couple of games, what a player we'll have with him. But it was it Cantwell tried to get something and it hit off the defender and kind of rolled back to him, but it was just a great finish. I think I said in a kind of a group chat that what a goal as soon as it went in. We need players to be taking these shots, and we've just not had it the last few years. Lawrence has shown that you can do it. Cantwell scored a couple of goals. Don't know what it was that was holding the players back before. I know we're usually facing 43,000 of their defenders before we can get a shot in, but taking shots like that, not every one of them will come off, but that was a great finish yesterday.
Aye, it definitely was. The boss has just come in and set me right on Mohamed Diamante's shot number. It's actually number 42, but still kind of shows what Rangers were trying to do and how they found a way to sort of break a deadlock in the first half. Ross, what was your thoughts on the goal? I noticed in the first half, it wasn't Oscar Cortez's greatest game. For what we've seen of him, he wasn't really involved in him. When Ross McCausland comes in the second half, I don't think that game yesterday was built for wingers, was it?
No, and look, I'm glad you mentioned that. I think probably didn't cover it off at the start, but I think given the way that Borna Barisic has become now, he seems to be a lot more negative in his play. I think he turns infield quite a lot and backwards. As I know it's something that I think previous managers have tried to stamp out of him, but he still tends to do it. It's almost this kind of comfort blanket to turn back and lay it back inside. And therefore, I think when Cortez got the ball, he was very proactive and quite bright with it. And I always back him to do something creative with the ball. I just don't think Barisic was giving him enough service, really. And from that heat map as well, and I think, it was pulled out there on one of the comments that he was coming inside as well quite a lot. So clearly what that says, the ball wasn't sticking up top very much, and both wingers were coming in internally, centrally to do it. In response to your question, I guess, look, it wasn't his best game, but he showed enough. He showed flashes, and I think he's shown in previous games that he's got that potential. And look, he's a young lad. I'm sure he won't have played on many pitches as bad as that in where was he, Lens, before this. But and then just to answer your other question about the goal, and I guess Diamande's all-round play, I think he was really positive, and it was probably very easy in a settled team to play a specific structure and a specific way of passing triangles or getting the ball wide or whatever the gaffer's trying to get away. But I think what Diamande brought was a decisiveness. There was 2 or 3 times I thought it was really nice that he actually went really very directly forward with the ball on the deck, quite firmly into the striker, something that we probably don't do enough of. And likewise here, he just thought, sorry, I'm gonna hit this one. And yeah, look, it was a cracking goal. I think it will do the lad no harm on his confidence. And yeah, you could see the confidence running through the team after that. And as well, I think we touched on it maybe previously. And it's testament to kind of some of the more senior players. As soon as he scored and ran off into that corner, there was kind of Goldson, Tavernier, Suter all round him immediately, and giving the guy, giving the guy the plaudits, because it was a phenomenal strike.
Aye, definitely. Colin, see, just before we get into the second half, just to kind of touch upon the new signings. 3 of them come in, started at the weekend there for the first time they were kind of playing together. Diamande, I says this on a Gallant Few last night. I thought he was having not a slow start, but a steady start is a word I would probably use for it. He was going about his business in a quiet way, having not kicked a ball for November. Yesterday, he really announced his sale as a Rangers player and showed me what we could potentially see. What have you made of the 3 January signings so far?
But just to start with Diamande, because he's the easy one to start with. He was terrific yesterday, and I don't want to say I told you so, but I did. Like when we played him number 10, I just didn't think he fit. He didn't have a bad game when he came on in that position, but I don't know, just the way he moves the ball and he can spread the ball about. I did think he was going to be suited more to maybe an 8 or maybe not a 6, but definitely an 8 at least. And I think what Diamande brings is so similar to Tom Lawrence. He's got the physicality to handle a Scottish League midfield, but just like Lundstrom and Lawrence do, Diamande and Lundstrom complement each other with the range of passing, and I think that's been so important in our midfield pairings, where we can pick any player out for anywhere in the pitch, really. It's quick moving passing, something we've not seen in a long time. How often have we seen midfielder takes the ball, touch, look up, touch again, stop for a cup of tea, and then back to Barisic and it starts.
Right.
It's so refreshing to see 2 midfielders do that. So I can't praise Diamande enough. Silva and Cortez, it's they are going to be hot and cold. They're 2 young players. Silva's on loan for a reason. Cortez is, he's so raw, but I think they will add value. I think the good thing is it's the timing. It's the timing. If they came in at the start of the season and they were playing under Beale and poor performances, the crowd's on their back, then we're going to write them off, because me and you joke all the time, Scott. We're a nightmare as Rangers fans. We're an absolute nightmare. We're no patient when things are only going well, but we've got, we're in a position now where the team aren't relying on Silva and Cortez bailing us out. There's enough players stepping up where they can ease their way into it. Yes, they still need to contribute as they're finding their feet, but I've no concerns about them at all. But I think we just need to level the expectation that they're not going to be 9 out of 10s every week.
Aye, 100%, 100%. I think that's right. Billy, I'll come to you on something Kai says that he thinks that Cortez can have a completely different performance if he plays with Redvan. He says that Redvan would have took up more of the space through the middle and let Cortez be more isolated on a one-on-one basis. Do you think that's something you can maybe see Clement trying to do?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think so. That's probably why I was more frustrated that Barisic started, because I just think they would play much better. Again, the pitch is going to be a deciding factor in that. It might be the main reason why they didn't. Look to see that maybe against Hearts, the upcoming game next week. But definitely think they two together would complement each other.
Aye, definitely. So, moving on to second half. The half-time sub, I think, surprises everybody. We've seen Dujon Sterling play everywhere now apart from in goal and up front. I wouldn't put it against Philip Clement playing them in any of them positions, right enough. He came on for Scott Wright and he had almost an instant impact. Ross Campbell plays a floaty crossover. Dujon Sterling's about 3 years out and just can't get enough on a header. What was your thoughts on his performance yesterday? I'm just going to bring his heat map up here.
Yeah, look, I mean, we could probably all just sit here and examine that and be quite impressed with his performance, I think. He brought something completely different. Is it bad if I make a joke about Dijon and him being mustard to defend against? Is that too bad? Am I going to be invited back? Is that all right? Yeah, nice.
I'm writing that one down.
Yeah, look, I think he caused absolute chaos. His directness, his pace, and his kind of aggression really took them by surprise. I think if I was Scott Wright, I'd be pretty nervous because I think Sterling did everything that probably Scott Wright should have been doing in that first half, knocking the ball long, using his pace against big burly defenders. And I mentioned to you before, Scott, on it. I think that the lad's so versatile in anywhere we can play him. I think he was superb when he played in centre midfield as well. And any title-winning team that we've seen in the past, whether it's Rangers, whether it's Manchester United, City, they all have a versatile player who can bail people out, can play a range of different positions and be trusted in them. I think the guy's absolutely brilliant. I think he's really unlucky to be overlooked in the central midfield position at the minute. I think he did he's played some fantastic games for us. And I thought he just brought something really different. So I was really, really impressed. I can't wait to see the lad develop even further.
Aye, 100%. Colin, I think a heat map kind of shows, like, I'm saying he's not played in goal yet and he's not played up front. Kind of heat map could argue something otherwise. With Dujon Sterling playing in all these different positions, do you think he's adding strings to his bow and adding value to him, or do you think that playing in sort of, say, like central midfield and right back, it should be given like one or two positions instead of being given all of these kind of roles that he's been asked to play? But do you think it decreases his value, or do you think it increases it?
I think right now it increases it, mate. But it's a very fine line, and I've spoken about this a couple of times. Like, long-term listeners of the pod knew, like, my first love when I started podcasting was Ross McCrory. Absolutely loved the guy, and I loved him because he could do a job in several different positions. Dujon Sterling, he's doing a better job than what McCrory ever done. He's a better calibre of player. And he's doing it in different positions, and that's all right to know, while he's finding his feet in the team as well. Like, I think hand in heart, we say he doesn't get in front of Tavernier at right back, he doesn't get in front of Lundstrom in the number 6 right now. But so it's all right using him as a utility player, like letting him bail you out, for wanting a better term. But if he's going to be a long-term player for Rangers come the summer, we need to get the best out of him and make sure we get the biggest impact in the Rangers. We need to find out what his best position is and then start to mould him in that. Because there's no, I think he's too good. He's got too much potential just to be a bit part player here and there. I think we need to find out where we want to play him long term. And if worst comes to worst, we know we can always pull him out of midfield and play him right back or left back or right wing, or I don't know, go if we need a Brooksy for the day. Yeah. But there's a fine line of how long you can do that for.
Aye. True enough, mate. Billy, just your final thoughts. The last part on Sterling, basically, he goes through on. The penalty actually comes from Sterling pressing for right wing and just charging the ball down to. He gets completely taken out of the game off of Andrew Considine. He looked in the ref's face when the player's claim for a penalty. Tells me that the referee reminded me of a 5-year-old in a shop that had lost his parents. No, he completely didn't make a call, looked at his assistant to make a decision. Nobody did. VAR had to intervene. What's your thoughts on, first of all, Sterling winning a penalty and how the penalty was given? Do you think that's something that needs to be looked at?
Well, he kind of chases down what looked like a lost cause on the TV anyway. The ball kind of spins awkwardly and he goes for it. And I mean, it was, you've seen in the replay where the referee's standing, he's got the perfect position to see that's a stonewall penalty. And I think he's too scared to make the decision. As you say, his face tells the story. He immediately looks at the linesman. And I think the linesman just blanks him because he gets nothing from the linesman. And I think it's okay having that safety net, but we really want the referees to be brave enough to give the decisions that they see with their own eyes in the first place. And then see if he was wrong, VAR would have corrected that, no doubt, as well. But on this occasion, definitely more so than the second penalty, but this occasion, he just completely fluffs it, really. He doesn't know what to do, and you see it in his face.
Aye, I know. Ross, James Tavernier steps up, takes the penalty, smashes it in the top corner. Something we've become accustomed to. We'll go round and give Tav a wee bit of praise because it's something I feel it doesn't really get done. We done it in the Gallant Few last night. I think when it's due, it's due now. He's now equalled John Gregg's record for highest scoring Rangers defender. What's your thoughts on Tav as a player, and kind of obviously scored yesterday, but you kind of expect that home now, don't you?
Yeah, it was I think his first goal in 6, so it felt a bit odd, and I was a bit disappointed he didn't get his hat trick, but we can let him off this time, I think. No, look, James Tavernier he's been someone that's come up through the years with Rangers and come up through the leagues with us as well. He really gets the club now. I think being inducted into the Hall of Fame has not weighed heavy on his shoulders. I think he's used it as a jetpack to spur him on and become a better player, a better man, and a better leader for the team. His goals alone are just staggering, and assists as well, I think it's worth saying. But also just the way we play. A lot of that you saw on the sort of initial positions in the first half. You can see how advanced he is. You can see he's always an option. I think Galton likes having him there as well. And I think on a previous chat we said that he responds really well to having a firm leader above him. So I think Clement's getting the best out of him and utilising him for, he's 31, 32 now. He's not always going to be overlapping and bombing on. But when he does go forward, he tends to make an impact. So I can't say enough about him. I think the guy's definitely a Rangers legend. And, in my life, certainly, I think he's someone that we'll look back on. And we've heard this quote a million times, but the guy will be missed, sorely missed from his goals alone. So let alone the impact that he has from a kind of a leadership point of view. And long may it continue.
Oh, you put yourself on mute, Scott. Happens to the best of us, mate. Don't worry.
Oh, no.
Hold on, there's Guy on the phone. Oh, man.
So, James Tavernier, we touched upon him on the Gallant Few last night. His record's phenomenal. We says last night that he's had countless beatings off of Celtic. He's had countless setbacks. It just seems to keep on coming, doesn't it?
Aye, and sorry, that was for me. Aye. Yeah, no, I'm a tough fan. I absolutely adore the guy. We said it last night. The mentality you need to take these special penalties. I despise when people say penalties the easiest thing you do in football, or any professional football player should be thrown for 12 yards. If it was that easy, nobody would ever save a penalty. To do it time and time again under pressure, and I can just echo everything Ross said there. What I do want to point out, although his numbers are still going strong, he's 2 goals yesterday, 3 assists midweek. I don't think he's as involved in games as what he has been recently, and I think that's a good thing. I think we've over-relied on him. It's been the most laboured point ever that our playmaker shouldn't be a right back. That's why we buy number 10s. But now the rest of the team are really starting to contribute, pull their weight, and he can focus on his own job, which isn't just defending before MD says it, but is timing the runs and, just when he is involved, making sure it matters.
Aye, definitely. Billy, Colin kind of touched upon it that he's maybe not as involved as what he has been. Do you think come summer, Clement needs to start looking at a strategy to bringing in potential replacements, whether that's that Tavernier becomes a squad player or just starting to phase him out? What's your thoughts on it? Or do you think you keep relying on him again next season?
I think Clement said after the game yesterday that he views Tav first and foremost as a defender. So I think he's already probably changed in his mind anyway, what he wants to use him going forward. I think that's probably replacing Tav's probably a bit. I think we're a season premature for really thinking about replacing him. I think he'll still be a first team right back next season. But that is the big question. What do you do? How do we replace Tav? And I think you don't replace Tav. You probably change the way you play rather than relying on your right back to get. I mean, the fact that there's not that many right backs that are anywhere near that level of goals or defenders near that level of goals shows you how we've been reliant on him for so long to get us important goals. Not just the penalties. Think of all the important goals he scored, the free kicks as well. I don't think we're quite at the stage of needing a replacement yet. And, maybe even Sterling could take over that. But I think you look at the way we play and change. I think Clement thinks of him as a different player than what previous managers have used him for, bombing forward like that. I know he still does it, but certainly Clement views him as a defender, first of all.
Aye, definitely.
So, can I just come in and what Billy says there? Like, I'm slightly different for Billy. I think it's not a replacement we need as a challenger. So I totally agree that there's legs in Tavernier just yet, and I think he will be our first choice right back next year. But it's not the long term replacement. It's an immediate challenger. James Tavernier's best season was when Nathan Patterson was jamming his heels, and that's no coincidence. It's like anywhere in the pitch, players will thrive in competition, and that's what we've lacked with James Tavernier. He's not been the issue. The lack of competition's been the issue. When he's been out of form, nobody's been able to come in, give him a rest, or make him up his game. So I would like to see whether that's through John Sterling or somebody else. We need somebody absolutely pushing Tavernier in the summer because we still don't have that.
I definitely see it come back in on you, Colin. I reckon if Adam Devine keeps up this good start that he's had at Motherwell, I think he's more than capable of coming in challenging for a jersey. He's already had an assist away to Morton. He scored at Pittodrie. Scored his first Motherwell goal. So if he's going to be producing numbers, we need to give these boys a chance.
And if he scores on Sunday, we make him captain. It's as simple as that.
100%. Hall of Fame.
100%. So I brought up the average player positions for the second half. We'll just kind of fly through it quickly. There wasn't much change-wise in the second half. Todd Cantwell come off with a wee bit of a knock, which was a wee bit worrying for me. Tom Lawrence come on. He was involved in a third penalty claim. It looks to me on the average position chart that Clement's trying to tell the left-hand side to stay a wee bit wider. Ross, do you think that's fair?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just creating those outlets, especially when we know they'll be chasing the game in the second half. You get a goal up, you get 2 goals up, the game opens up a bit, keep the width, give options out wide and hit them on the counter, which, to be fair, did work pretty well. I think there was 2 or 3 chances that a certain Mr. Missed, but look, we'll maybe come on to that in a minute. I think interestingly there, seeing Tom Lawrence in that advanced position at number 11. Now, obviously, that'll just be slightly affected by probably the minutes that he had on the park. But again, he came on, he was lively. I thought he looked a willing runner and definitely someone to get in behind. But yeah, look, clearly a thing to open up that left hand side, capitalize on the break, and hopefully expose them when they're pushing men forward.
Aye, definitely. Colin, what's your thoughts on, first of all, the chart and just the second half is? Do you think the second half was a better performance than the first half going by this?
It's a funny one, isn't it? First of all, in the chat, it's we've been speaking in the group chat, and I'm very much one for the eye test as opposed to what the stats actually tell you. So it's quite interesting seeing the average positions in that. Was the second half more comfortable than the first half? I think the second half definitely was more comfortable. I didn't feel like that at the time. I was rattling right up until the second goal, but I think that's. I won't be the only one. I know I'm not the only one, but that's us as a support. Every time Rangers get the chance to capitalise, recent history has told us we don't take the chance. So I think that's probably the more the emotion tied to the game actually than how Rangers were playing. Looking back at it, St Johnstone never really threatened us. Rangers were chapping the door, and it was a more comfortable game. In the second half, we just need to get these earlier goals and kill the game off earlier.
Aye, definitely, mate. Billy, come on to your last point on it. Aldo's brought up a good point. He says, did we ever look in danger all game? See, when we're 1-0 up, obviously looking at this chart, do you see any potential weaknesses that could have been exposed? To me, 5 and 6, Goldson and Suter, we've seen that ball played in behind down Suter's side the last few matches. How did you feel about the game overall at the weekend?
I took some notes during the game, and I've just said we were comfortable throughout. I would just to go on your last point. They tried the overball a few times, and they both mopped them up. There was no danger of that losing a goal that way. So I think it's interesting that Tav's position doesn't really get beyond the halfway line in the second half. So we try to be more defensive. I don't know. I guess the only time I felt we were in danger, and it was when they got that free kick down in the corner. And it was one of those ones that he could have put it at the top corner near post, or he could have put it at the back post for somebody for a nod in. But thankfully, Lundstrom dealt with it, and then nothing came in the corner after it. But that's the only point in the game. I know they had like between 20 minutes and maybe 25, 26 minutes, they had a bit of pressure on us. But apart from that and that free kick, I don't remember ever feeling even remotely nervous that we were going to drop points or they were going to get an equaliser. And I felt the goal was always coming. In fact, we should have probably had 2 or 3 more.
Aye, definitely. I'm just going to bring a question up to the panel. Well, Ross, I'll ask you. Paul's asked that when are the refs actually going to start protecting the players in the pitch? He says Campbell could have his leg broke with that challenge in the first half. Where's the refs' duty of care? Do you think that's, to me, it seems like an ongoing problem in Scottish football, doesn't it?
Look, for me, it was a yellow card. I think if you start giving out, especially on a bobbly pitch, I think the lad was late. I don't think there was malice in it. So for me, it was a yellow card. So maybe slightly contentious there. But I guess to answer your second point to the question, I think that there's that much noise in Scottish football around refereeing, around VAR, around the old firm, both sort of us and them. Both feeling hard done by, and I think that creates a lot of noise. And it was referenced earlier about the referee's face when the penalty was given. I think I'm so surprised I haven't seen more memes of that yet, because I was absolutely wetting myself when I saw it. I thought it was genius. Maybe I'm going to copyright that one. But look, they are afraid. They are nervous. They don't want to give these big decisions. And that incident aside, I think the referee was on the hesitant side throughout. I do agree that there does need to be more protection. I think, we've had it a few times where I think back to Sterling's tackle a few weeks ago when he got a straight red and look, that whether you like it or not, for me, the speed that he was going, it probably was a red just through to the nature of the tackle. So look, they're willing to do it against us. Are they slightly biased against us? Well, I think they always probably will be. So I think we just have to play to our strengths and keep going and keep creating chances, I think. We're lucky that we didn't get any injuries that game just due to the nature of the pitch, but I don't think there was too many malicious, aggressive tackles that I'd be concerned overall.
Aye, definitely. Does anybody want to come in on Ross's point?
If I can come in,
Go for it.
I think, yeah, I mean, even going back far as Cardoso getting his nose broken in that game, the referees, they seem to be proud, or Scottish teams seem to be proud that we're hard and we're putting these tackles in. Scottish football as a whole would be better if the referees just stamped this out. If they gave a few red cards for these things, it would stop it. Same with the shirt pulling. Shirt pulling stopped, now they're giving penalties for it. If they could just stop, I just think that the game in this country as a whole does not benefit from this reputation of being really hard and aggressive. It's not the 70s anymore. It's not Leeds United back then. And everybody would have a better product, a better game, would get better sponsorships for the league if we had something worth watching or something more worth watching outside the two big teams.
Colin, you back, come in?
Billy's saying the words right out my mouth. I don't know why we pride ourselves in being a nation of boxers when it comes to football. Like you see how every Scottish club, and that include Rangers and Celtic in this, they struggle to adapt to the European game. We rush into tackles more, and I know Rangers and Celtic probably are a little bit more used to it, but how many times have we seen the likes of Hearts, Aberdeen, Hibs go to these games and teams just want to play football, and it's an adaptation that we are not used to making. And again, like back to the governing body, I said about the pitches at the start, nothing will change until we start performance managing referees in a broader scale. We need full-time refs to be able to apply the laws better, but I've made the point so many times, all of us are going to go in our working order, and if we do a substandard job, managers got to have a word with us. If we continue doing it, we'll be performance managing, whatever that looks like, whatever industry you work in. Doesn't happen with Scottish referees, and until we want to change it, no change.
Just on that, if you don't mind, Scott. Yeah, I think it's absolutely fair what you're saying. Do you think there was any tackles yesterday, you two, that there were obscene or should have been a red? Do you think the Campbell one was too aggressive?
No, is that to me or is it to Colin?
Just start with yourself, Scott, if you want.
To me, it was just normal Scottish football for me, to be brutally honest with you. You're kind of used to seeing it. I did worry when Campbell come down. Campbell looked as if it was in agony, if I'm being honest about it. In terms of the decision that did piss me off a bit was Considine getting through on John Sterling, and the referee not just making a decision and like pointing his spot. It was a blatant penalty. It's as blatant a penalty as you're going to see all season. I can make allowances for the second handball because it's in real time. It's easily missed. In years gone by, that wouldn't even have been given for a penalty. But the first one is they need to look at that. They need to look at that and ask a referee. For me, should be justifying why he had to wait in VAR to clarify that instant. I mean, did they think Considine get a ball? Considine was nowhere near the ball. To be brutally honest with you, Ross.
And do you think that is because of the nature of Scottish football, or do you think it's the hesitancy that refs have about giving big decisions against?
I think
VAR's
creating a culture, and I think VAR's creating a bad culture, whereas they're taking these decisions off of referees because they're providing them with some sort of security blanket. VAR's only supposed to be there for a clear and obvious error. And to me, that was a clear and obvious error at the weekend, but it shouldn't have been a clear and obvious error, if that makes any sense.
I'd agree with that.
If I can get you a point about the tackle, Scott, Ross, sorry. The Cantwell one, is the only one I think was particularly over the top. And I do agree it probably was a yellow, but it still was a bad one. And then obviously the penalty is the other one that you think that could just be Considine's not particularly fast. I don't know if he ever was, but he's just late in that tackle. But it's more the pattern in general of this aggressive, and more just being proud of it. That this is a badge we wear. In this country we honour that we're hard and we're tough. That's football's moved on from that, and we all enjoy watching the top class teams and how they stroke the ball about and how they're skillful. I want to see that as close as possible in this country as well.
Aye, definitely. Right, we'll get away from referees now. And I want to talk about being top of the league and what that's going to do for our mentality. Colin, I'm going to come to you on this because the boys had a couple of points there about the referee. How are you feeling, mate?
Terrified, buzzing, we want to cry, I want to laugh, all of the above. Like, we've got a couple of younger podders, and they've talked about this is going to be their first proper title race that they actually remember. And they're saying they're speaking to their dads and their big cousins, and they're saying, "Oh, they're brilliant." Anybody who enjoys a title race right to the wire is a psychopath. It's not enjoyable at all. I'd rather it was wrapped up by March. It's we are in one. I think I've seen enough for Philip Clement's side and how he inspires this side that we will go the distance. Rangers are going to drop points. There's no doubt about it. I don't think we go every game unbeaten. I don't think we I don't think we take maximum points. I think I've seen enough, but when we do fall down, we can pick ourselves back up, and I'm confident that we go the distance. I think injury dependent and how well we use the squad will be massive in how we manage all three competitions, because we've got another Scottish Cup game coming up. We've got the European fixtures as well. That's going to impact us more than I think we've thought about just yet. So we need to be really clever on how we do that. But no, I'm buzzing that we had the chance to go top with 2 points clear, and we took it. And that's no, I'm not saying that lightly, because we've not always taken the opportunities in the past. So buzzing, I'll go with that, and tomorrow I'll be terrified again.
Barry, I'm going to come to you now. You've seen Rangers win a few titles in your time. Is this feeling familiar?
Well, I grew up, the first ones I remember was 9 in a row. So I'm used to having title run-ins with Aberdeen more than Celtic, to be fair. But I mean, it's...
That's a promo clip right there, Kai.
I agree with Colin. Like, I don't enjoy it, but it feels good at the moment. And now you just want to stay there. You just want to don't do anything in the next few games that give them another kind of way back in, because I do think that they've got it in them to fall away like they did for the 55 season if we play our cards right and just keep the results going. It feels like they're ready for an implosion. I'll use that word instead of the other one, but it's enjoyable and, as you say, Colin, terrifying at the same time, because we're just there, and there's not been. 55 wasn't a title race. There's not been actual title race in so long. I was at the first helicopter Sunday. That game, the going back and forth, that's the very last game of the season, going back and forward like that. I don't know if I've got the nervous system for it anymore.
I'll not see you next season if the league goes like that. I will not be here. I'll need to hand over the deeds to the pod to Scott. Like, I really don't have it in me.
Ross, on to you. There's a few questions in a chat about where you've got your top. So you'll need to tell Aldo where he can get one. And also, are you a wee bit different to the boys? Are you feeling quite confident that we're going to wrap up the league this year?
Well, I think it's probably a good time to bring out the Jimmy Bell quote, "You've won F all yet, finish the effing job." And I think that's probably rings true at the minute. And now if I was Clement, I'd be saying the same. It's a bit of an old cliche to take every game at a time, but we've done it so far. It's worked for us. There's no harm in letting the lads be happy and proud of what we've got to so far. I think it's always good to look back and reflect on how you've got to where you've gotten to. But the job's not done yet. There's a lot of football to be played. I think if we can continue on this trajectory, then we're going to win this league. And I think we can all be fairly confident that we've got a very, very good shot of it, given the swing, not just our performances, but the swing that's occurred and the trajectory that we're on. I'd say we've got a really, really good chance. So, it could be a great summer ahead.
What about your top?
Yes. I designed this myself. This is the North Yorkshire Loyal. So shout out if any of the lads are watching. We're based in Harrogate, North Yorkshire. So if anyone's down and wants to watch a match and have a wee swally, then head on down.
All right. So we go top of the league on Sunday because Derek McInnes goes and takes points off a Celtic yet again. Colin, I'll come into you on this one. I watched parts of the game. I've watched the highlights. I always watch the Celtic highlights when they drop points. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't watch them because I do. But Kilmarnock looked really, really comfortable in the ball at Parkhead. They looked like it was a really, really good performance. Fair play to them. What are you thinking about Rossi City just now? For me, there's shades of the feeling of how they weren't in the 10 in a row season. There seems to be different feelings of discontent within fans, boardroom, players. What's your overall thoughts on them?
I'm sure it was you that said to me, I don't know if we were on the phone or in the group chat, but their situation right now is how we were in August and September.
Right.
The absolute inner conflict, the toxic atmosphere, and we had that Ibrox not long ago, and it just shows you how quick that can change. Even when they were 1-0 up, the crowd was on their back, and that does feed into the players. And that's probably given me a lot of confidence in when I spoke earlier about Rangers will drop points, but I think they'll pick themselves back up. If Celtic, they're likely to win on Sunday, but they'll probably scrape by. It takes a long time to change that feeling, and the longer the better for us. It's actually getting to the point you want them to play at Parkhead because the crowd have just got to be on their back. They were booing Santa not that long ago. That's how bad it is, and I know we laugh and joke about it, but it just sums up what's going on there. So I'm all for it. We want to focus on what we do, but if we can get a helping hand by them imploding on the other side of the city, then brilliant. Special shout out to Greg Stewart for him to see the goal celebration. He ran over, celebrated with his teammates. He got a waft of something and had to wave it away for his nose, and sent the Celtic hordes into a frenzy.
Billy, you get any thoughts on across the way? This isn't a regular topic I want to come in, but we've just went up with the league. They seem to be imploding for the inside.
It feels like. Yeah, it feels like after kind of New Year, Gerrard's first 2 seasons where we were doing well initially and then we just threw the second half of the season away. It feels like that's what they're having over there as well. The fans aren't happy. It's everybody's. It's the board. It's Rodgers. It's the players. They're turning on all of them. It's been a strange scene with the Green Brigade being banned from the games as well. It's just all the kind of things that these wee small things tumble on and have these big consequences towards the end of the season. That we've not won anything. It's just what I'm seeing at the moment looks like what's happened to us a couple of times when in the journey before.
Right, definitely. Ross, you want to come in on anything?
Just echo what the lads have said already. I think Billy, you hit that perfectly there. I think when you start to see a club and multiple cracks appearing, it tends to suggest that the fans don't back the board or the board don't back the club or whatever the situation is. But there's something at a senior level that's probably being cascaded down. I think when Rodgers came in, I think there was a lot of question marks of whether he was the right man and or whether it was a knee-jerk reaction. And I think, very easy to paper over those cracks given where they were in the league. But now that we've crept back up and overtaken and focused on ourselves, I think those plasters will soon be ripped off and the cracks will show again. And it's clearly that's what's happening. I don't like to gloat too much, as you can tell from the big smile on my face. But yeah, put it this way, I'm not too bothered either way.
Right, well, just before we wrap up the pod, we've got two of the hardest tests coming up that since the return of the winter break. Ross, I'll stay with you on this one if you don't mind. We've got Kilmarnock at home first, and we've got Hearts at home and Kilmarnock away. How are you feeling about them games?
I'll be a lot more confident that we'll be successful with the league title this year if we get past these unscathed. I think, like any competition, like any league, you've got to play the best that's around you and come out on top. I think we've got everything in the arsenal. We've got the confidence. We've got the trajectory. We've got the right man at the helm, and I can only see us winning both those games. So I'm very confident going into the Hearts game. I think it'll actually, I think it'll be probably a little more comfortable than maybe we're thinking at the minute, given that it'll be at Ibrox and the players are absolutely full of beans at the minute. I think Shanklin might have a part to play in that, but hopefully not too much for a part to play. And then the Killie game again, look, they've taken points off the Old Firm this year already. So it'll be a tough test, but you've got to win these games. If you want to be champions, you've got to beat the best and the best of the rest, haven't you? So I'm confident. I think we'll get through that, and we'll be maybe 6-7 points clear at that point.
Colin, I'm going to come to you on the Hearts game, and I'll go to Billy on Kilmarnock away. Chris on our pod last night says that Hearts are the second most informed team in Europe. What is it, 28 or 30 odd points, I think he said last night. What's your feeling? Do you think this is going to be slightly, let's see, during the Aberdeen game at home, I still felt relatively comfortable even though we were kind of drawing at half time. Do you think this is going to be a tougher test?
You're right with that start. 28 out of 30 points, only Inter Milan are better than them in Europe, and credit where credit's due, you can't take that away from them. And this is where I'm going to come back down to earth a wee bit here. We do need to, we do need to look at the test ahead of us and prepare ourselves, and this will be a level up for the last few games. I think with Hearts, with their current form, they will come and try and take the game to Rangers. They'll be confident in that. The Shanklins gave us bother, and in the last few games, they are attacking quite well. So I think that will be a different challenge to the Rangers. It will suit them offensively. Rangers are much better going forward when teams open up against them. I'm still no certain that we don't have a bomb scare every game at the back. Golson's had it, Souttar's had it, Balogun's had the odd couple of dodgy games, but we don't know if he's going to be in yet or not. So I don't want to, Rangers, we should be confident going in to win this game comfortably, but we do need to recognise at the same time we do need to up our levels on Saturday. But see the feeling we have around Ibrox now. Rangers are at their best when the team and the fans feed off each other, and Clermont is harnessing that. I think it's going to be electric. I think if you could somehow dim the lights, it's proper RB Leipzig atmosphere on Saturday. It's going to be electric, and I think the team will bounce off of that. Oh, second yellow card for Scott.
Oh, Christ. I'd be as well wrapping this now, aren't I? Billy, we're in uncharted territory with this team just now in terms of we're getting into two hard matches top of the league. Kilmarnock, I don't think any of the old firms beat them in their stadium so far this season, or even took points off them in their stadium so far this season. How are you feeling getting into the Killie game?
Well, I was reading that the Celtic at the weekend, that was their best result against Kilmarnock this season, as far as I know. So they're actually improving. From our point of view, I mean, it's not really an elephant in the room. I was going to say elephant in the room, but we talk about it every time we go down there, is that pitch. It's a worry because they're used to playing on it. We find it difficult. We've found it difficult for a number of years. And the other point is McInnes has got them playing pretty well for their level. He is a good SPFL manager outside the Old Firm. I think it's no, I don't know what the word is, but it's not a surprise that Aberdeen are where they are now after he's gone, and probably Kilmarnock will get themselves up to that. They've got a wee bit of money behind them at that level as well. So that's the bigger worry. I do think we'll take care of Hearts fairly easily, to be honest with you. I think every game this season has been, apart, obviously Shanklin got that equaliser, but I feel we've been comfortable against them, and I think we're playing better now than we have done playing them in the past. But the Kilmarnock game is my worry out of this too, and it's purely down to recent history going down there, and especially the first game of the season. I think we really need to try and score 2 goals in that first half without reply. Because they seem to like to, in that Celtic game I watched a couple of weeks back when they beat them, they like to just kind of hold for the first half, try and keep it to minimum 1-0, and then go and try and hit them towards the end of the second half. We need to take that out of their hands by trying to get a couple of early goals. It's certainly a couple of goals in the first half, and then I think we'll be plain sailing in the second half if that happens. But I'm more concerned about the Kilmarnock game.
Aye, definitely. Right, well, that's us, boys. Firstly, I want to thank you all for coming on. I want to thank the moderators for taking care of the comments for us tonight. It was a bit of a nervous occasion for me, but I think it's went relatively smooth. Not sure how. I would like some comments back on like the heat maps and things like that. See how everybody in the comments thought that went. If it's something they would like to see going forward, I think it does Kai justice if we put work like this up, because he does great work during the weeks. During the week as well, he's going to be putting up different scouting videos and stuff like that on the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Ross, you want to say your goodbyes, mate?
Yeah, look, great inaugural Rangers Journal podcast. Well done, Scott, for hosting. Thanks for the lads joining as well. And on to the next one, 3 points and another enjoyable conversation coming our way, I hope.
Sensei, thank you for coming on and keeping an eye on us tonight, mate.
No, always a pleasure, mate. Thanks for having us on. And if you will, just allow me to go on my high horse just for one last minute. I'm lucky enough to guest on a few pods, and fan media is the way forward to get your Rangers content. Like, there's so many good options out there. Like, I don't need to list them all. Like, there's so many good Rangers pods, so many good non-Rangers podcasts as well. This is like, look at the content that Kai will bring you in the journal. If you don't like what we do, go and have a look about it. It's not that hard to find. You don't need to go get the rags anymore. That I think in the past, this is where it's at.
100%. Also, want to say that the Gallant View Patreon is £1 a month. There's a kind of journalism group getting brought up, so there's going to be plenty of articles and stuff fired into it. I think you might have been doing a certain interview, or you've got one lined up, Colin, that will put bums on seats in terms of a patron.
Aye, big reveal. Billy Davis and Mora, and hopefully Callum Beattie at the end of the month. And on the articles, my spell checker's taking an absolute battering, man. I've not wrote anything like that since high school, so all my articles are getting sent to you to read first, Scott. But aye, for £1 a month, you can get daily content as well. If no, just be sound, fine as I like. If you don't like us, go to the journal.
Definitely. Just one last plug for my good friend Corey, his pod for Stanza Ibrox and the Rangers Assessment. Big Scott McPike, they both do great work and they deserve all the views they can get. Please like and subscribe this video. Billy, I've delayed your ending just because I want to say thank you for coming on last minute tonight. I think it was 2 solid performances after you and Ross on your pod debut. I just want to say well done. Everybody in the comments absolutely loving it. Geraldo's put one up that 2 years are absolutely outstanding tonight. So over to you, mate.
No, I really appreciate being on, especially with what happened at the weekend. It's probably the best time really to start this pod. Any other time earlier in the season, it might not have been as positive, but it's been really good to talk about the weekend and really good to be on the pod and a really good experience. So thanks to all 3 of you. Thank you.
Magic. Thank you, boys. We will be back on Friday night at 8 o'clock with another live stream. Maybe going down a different route with the pod on Friday. We're maybe going to speak about some youth football, some up-and-comers, and obviously preview the game against Hearts on the Saturday. So everybody take care, and I'll see you then.